Welcome to the Truman Charities podcast, a community of caring. I am Jamie Truman, your host. I'm one of the co-founders of Truman Charities. Our organization has raised over $1 million for several different charities as we share our message of helping others and paying it forward. We plan to continue to educate our audience on the culture of giving. On this podcast, I will interview fellow charity founders, volunteers, sponsors, and other people in the community who will share their stories. You will hear and be inspired by their selflessness and passion for helping others. Welcome to another episode of A Community of Caring. My guest today is a wife, mother of 4 children. She's the Director of Strategic Partnerships of Immigrant and Refugee Outreach Center, which is short for IROC, and Family Service Manager at Homes Not Borders. Manizha Azizi, how are you?
Good. Thank you, Jamie, for having me. I am doing very well. Thank you.
Good. I know you're so busy, especially with 4 kids and working with 2 of these organizations. So thank you again for taking the time to talk to us. So for people that don't know you personally, can you tell us a little bit about your story and why you chose to work with these 2 organizations?
Definitely. I'm Afghan American. I came here in the 80s when the Soviet Union was in Afghanistan during the Cold War. I was 5 when I left. I was 7 when I arrived here in America. We were in Pakistan for about a year and a half or so. So that being said, I have a lot of, it's personal for me because I've been through that. My family's been through that, through what these refugees are now facing. And the reason why I worked with the 2 nonprofits is that because they are on the ground, they're benefiting the people firsthand, and there's no bureaucracy involved. It's direct, and I really enjoy working with them.
You said that you got to the U.S. when you were 7. What was that transition like?
It was difficult. It was a lot to learn. There was a language barrier, culture, everything is just coming into a new country, not expecting what you left and not knowing what the future holds. My parents did not speak the language, neither did I. We had to start from scratch, and these families have to endure the same thing. It was tough, and trying to find a job, that will pay you and, a livable wage was difficult. And at the time when we came, we didn't have there were not a lot of Afghans here. So there was no community sense, and it was difficult for my parents.
The families that you're working with both of these organizations, do you see that they're facing some of the same challenges that you and your parents did when you came to the U.S.?
Definitely. They are facing some of those challenges, if not more in some ways than others. There's a huge backlog. I don't think that we were prepared in America as a whole to take in 75,000 at once. And it's causing a lot of issues with them getting their documents on time, their social securities. The resettlement agencies are scrounging to help, and it's overwhelming for everyone involved. The bases are, they're completely saturated, and it's tough all around. And everybody, I think with our organizations, we're trying to kind of fill in the gaps and help when we can with the resettlement agencies and with the families. And yes, the families are facing, they need jobs. They're having an issue with, there's a huge housing crisis that no one knows about. There's a housing shortage. And so these families are not able to be permanently housed. They have to live in temporary housing, in hotels for weeks or months at a time. And not everybody knows that. And it's, and this is when we come in and we help out. And these families have reached out to us directly, and they need certain things, and they have large families. They can't, imagine living out of a hotel for months at a time. It can be difficult with large families. Feeding them and finding activities for the children so the parents don't lose their minds and as well as the children themselves. So, they need laptops to learn English. They need phones to communicate. Sometimes they're given one phone at the base and they're not able to communicate once they leave the home with the rest of the family. They don't have enough groceries. It takes about a month or so just to get their stipend. because of the processing. So they don't have enough food until they get that, get the food stamps. And then furnishings, we're trying to do as much as we can with Homes Not Borders of furnishing these folks, but it's, we're stretching ourselves very thin because we have an influx, and we could use some help in that regard.
When these families are coming over here from Afghanistan, can you just give us an idea of why? What's happening currently in Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan, Jamie, it's pretty bad. They're pretty desperate. People are running out of food. I have heard stories of families that only have the bare minimum of bread, feeding the family, if that. Some of them are so desperate, they're selling their children for food because they need to feed the rest of the family. It's not an isolated case. I mean, it's happening everywhere. There's a hunger crisis. There's people are not being paid their salaries. They're expected to show up to work, but they're not being paid for that. It's sometimes being paid very minimal, if at all. And people are under threat. There are people that are in hiding. If they had any affiliation with America, working, or they know of their family members who have gone abroad or have come here, and they know of this, the Taliban knows of this, they will go and find them. And people have disappeared, people have gone missing, and that they will just take you, and no one will hear of you. But these families are very scared. They're going from city to city, home to home, trying to hide. So it's pretty bad.
It's terrible. I can't even imagine. But I do know that last time when I was talking to you previously, you were telling me some stories about how both of the organizations, and one specifically, IROC, has touched so many families. And I would love for you to share just, one or two stories of how IROC has touched these families that have come over.
With IROC, and Homes Not Borders, with Homes Not Borders, I personally go and I see the families, but with, generally we do the setups and they don't really mix with the families as much. But with IROC, yes, we're constantly in contact with the families directly. And yes, with these families, there was, I can think of a couple, there's a ton, but I can let you know of a couple. There is one that touched me personally that, I will never forget his words, but it was a father, and I was helping him. He's a father of 3 girls, and I was helping him with some donations and, dropping off and things. And it was a couple of times that I had gone there, and seeing me, I have this big truck, and I put everything in the back of my truck, and I'll climb on it, and I'll, I'm running around, and he sees how hard I work and everything. And he's only been here for about maybe 3 or 4 months now. And he stopped me, and he said, "Manizha, I just want you to know that looking at you, I have so much appreciation, but I have hope for my daughters in this country. And, I feel like they can aspire to be like you." And that really touched me because that's what I want to do. I want to give back in any way I can, whether it's with goods or just being an example for, Afghans and women and girls, because that's something that they lack back home and they don't see that enough. So for him to say that meant so much to me, that he, hopes and wishes that his daughters could grow up to be like, someone like me, to give back, that helps, and be a successful, person and help. Yeah. So that was touching. And another touching story that I actually want to tell you, and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, but previously there's a family I met, and, we were helping them with Homes Not Borders, actually, and through IROC, since I do both. But just speaking to them, they happen to be there. Usually they're not there. And the father communicated to me that his son was left back home. And I thought he was talking about an older son, but he was only 6 years old, 6-year-old son. And it was just, I had to inquire more. Basically what happened was, through the chaos, they were at the airport, and this little boy got lost amongst the chaos, and they couldn't find him. They stayed back and they tried looking for him and they couldn't find him. They had to leave because they had other children to think of. They didn't know what his whereabouts were. And a lot of families faced similar things because they didn't know if their children were going to make it. It was like a stampede of people in line for hours on end. So they had to make the tough decision of coming here, not knowing what happened to their son. Once they arrived, there was news of their son. Someone had found him, thankfully. And, but getting him here was a whole nother story. So that's what I helped them with. And it felt so good to help this family. And it went through weeks and weeks and weeks of going back and forth with the help of a veteran group that was helping us in the State Department. And we got this little boy out, and I was lucky enough to pick him up from the airport and give him lots of hugs. And it was just the best feeling in the world, Jamie. This family got to reunite with their son, and it felt really good. It felt really good. So
we touched on this last time I talked to you a little bit. And you had me crying then. And I can't hear this story without tearing up because, I have 3 kids. One of them is 5. And I just can't imagine being a mom and being knowing that your kid's frightened and you can't find them and you don't know where they are. It's so, I don't know. It hits so hard to moms, hearing that story, You guys do such great work. You have me crying again. And I bet everyone that's listening is going to be tearing up too, because that story just gets me. I want to get into IROC and I want to get into Homes Not Borders. Let's start out with IROC. What exactly do you guys, I know you have some amazing programs. You have Adopt a Family. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're happy to report that we've had good success with Adopt a Family. We're celebrating over 50 families that we've been able to adopt out, and it's been wonderful. But I'm actually receiving more and more and more families on a daily basis. So we definitely need more people to step up and help in that regard. But yeah, the Adopt a Family basically works like this. You get in touch with us and we set up a family, that you contact. We write down what their needs are, whether it's shoes or clothes, or they need help navigating, or they need help with some school, whatever it is, however you want to help. You're not obligated to do all those things. You basically, Megan from IROC will fill you in on, what you're able to do and what family would match up with you. Okay. And then we go from there, and it's been working great. We've gotten good feedback from a lot of the families, the adopters, saying that thank you so much for allowing us to do this and helping this family. It's touched them and it's worked out pretty wonderfully. So we would love for more families to step up and help us with that. We definitely have a lot of families to go around. Especially right before Christmas, I think it would be great.
Yes. And there's actually one of our board members, Rob, he did Adopt a Family with you guys a little while ago. I just talked to him about it because I was talking about you and how much I love your organization that you work with. And it's fun. So he was like, no, it's great. I got a list. And I remember going there and we brought items. So you guys have an Amazon wish list that you guys have. And then what he did is he kind of involved his neighborhood and his community of people to help him out for this family too. So that's always a great option for people, to get other people involved too as they adopt the family.
Exactly. So with that, there have been church groups, there have been synagogues, groups, and they're just, youth groups, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. You can gather your neighbors, your friends, a bunch of girlfriends can get together, family members, however you want to do it. You can, set that up and help some of these families get a fresh start.
Yeah.
It works out great.
And I was reading an email from your organization, and you were saying that you have a lot of either pregnant women or new mothers that have just come over. And so,
yes, I actually went to a family yesterday, and Jamie, they were so cute. It was a young family, and the dad was maybe in his 20s, and the mom looked no older than 18. I mean, this was a young couple, so scared, so nervous. They don't know the language. They were like, what do we do? Where do we go? I mean, she's a week away from giving birth.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was just, yeah. And just navigating this, they didn't know which hospital they were supposed to go to. And it's just a lot. And these families need the support. But yes, definitely tons of new moms and new babies. One I visited 2 days ago and he's 7 days old, so just adorable. But yeah, we need help with, those families. We need items for those families and being able to purchase them and car seats and things like that. So yeah, lots of new babies.
So I did want to mention that you guys are 100% volunteer, which is amazing that you guys are. And I want to know, for everyone that's listening, what is the best way to help IROC?
So yes, we're 100% volunteer. We're a very small group, but we've done incredible work with a lot of help from everyone. So a lot of ways you can help is definitely through supporting, the families through the Adopt a Family program, purchasing items from the Amazon wish list, visiting the website, which is www.irocenter.org, and, monetary donations. We could use certain items like laptops and phones, whether it's new or used. That would be helping us a lot. And basically just reaching out to organization and seeing what ways that they can help. There's different ways. You can volunteer and help us sort through donations. But the Adopt a Family program has seemed to work the best.
Now, how many families do you guys currently have?
We have over... We have over 300 right now and counting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, lots of families, and a lot of families actually recently are reaching out from Virginia. We help with the whole DMV area, but we were mostly concentrating on, Prince George's County, Montgomery County. But now it's we have tons of families reaching out from Virginia. And it's heartbreaking because we just don't have enough of us. There's a handful of us and we can only do so much. So that's why I think the Adopt a Family works great, because it helps us stretch and reach more families. But yeah, just lots of families to help.
All right. Now I want to get a little bit into, obviously, the Homes Not Borders. So can you tell us a little bit about that organization that you're involved in?
Definitely. So Homes Not Borders is a wonderful organization that helps furnish the apartments. We set up the apartments. We get the information from a couple of organizations that we help, which is ACDC and IROC families. And in the past, we have worked with LSS as well. Those are the major resettlement organizations in the state of Maryland. We have now reached out and we're partnering up with No One Left Behind, and they've just gotten into it, but we've been delivering things and setting up drop-offs in Virginia as well. But anyway, so we basically set up the apartments before the families move in. We get the information from the resettlement agencies, how many people are in this family. Then we go in and we tag the furniture we need and the items that we need. And we we get a bunch of volunteers and we set up the apartment for them before they move in.
So how could people that are listening, how can they help Homes Not Borders?
So Homes Not Borders, same way. You can volunteer. You can visit our website. We also have an Amazon wish list that you can purchase items through. Monetary donations would be great. And, any of those things. We have some groups that come and help us do home setups on the weekends, church groups, any kind of youth group or schools, things like that. We would love college students to get involved and come and, help us set up the apartments. And it feels good. Like, it just feels good to do it. I know the first time I got introduced to Homes Not Borders was through volunteer. I wanted to do something and I got involved. I saw what happened and, like everyone else on TV, and I was like, I need to do something. And so I did my research and I found out what local organizations there are that would benefit the Afghan families. And one of them was Homes Not Borders and IROC. And when I did it, I wanted to go back and do it again. And then, now I'm in there all the time. I'm doing it every day, every single day. But yeah, definitely those are the ways that you can help. And I have, they can visit our Instagram, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. and visit our websites, and by just getting involved. And if you're not close, if your audience is maybe listening from somewhere where they're not able to come to the DMV area and help out, visit the communities where you think that Afghan refugees may reside. Go in and maybe reach out to some of the resettlement agencies to see how you can help in that regard. There are tons of families. I'm getting families that have reached out to me from Georgia, from Buffalo, New York, all over the place. Because once they get word of us helping, they'll call and ask me. But I wish I could help everywhere, nationwide, but I can't. So hopefully some of your audience members can.
Well, and also people that are listening, sharing is an amazing way to help. Take your post, share your posts on their social media, get the word out. The more people that know, the better. Because honestly, before I had met you and spoke to you, I had no idea that we had such a need in this area. And it blows my mind lots of times when I'm talking to, founders of organizations and people that are working in these local charities. And I had no idea there was a problem. I just didn't. And I think that, just addressing it and sending it out to as many people as possible is so crucial to help solving this problem. And I want you to tell everyone, and we're going to have this in the show notes too, for anyone that wants to read it, but do you have your actual social media handles for both organizations?
Yes, definitely. So for IROC, we have the Immigrant and Refugee Outreach Center. And Instagram, you can follow us at IROC_DMV. And, you can email us at info@irocenter.org. I'm sorry, irocenter.org, not two C's.
Perfect.
One C. And for Home Stop Borders, you can follow us at Home Stop Borders. And for the Facebook, same thing, Home Stop Borders.
Before I let you go, I want to know, is there anything that we haven't covered or talked about that you think, people should know?
I don't know if we touched on it, but I would like for your audience to know that, I think because of the housing shortage, if they know of someone who is, that manages apartment complexes, or them themselves have that, that can maybe offer low-income housing to some of these families, knowing that these families don't have a history, a credit history here, obviously, and that could help them, that would be great. And then also, we have such a shortage of laptops and phones that if someone knows anybody that can, get their hands on some used phones or laptops, and there's an organization that offers to clean them, before we send them out to refugees, and they're called KindWorks. So we can always send those there. But that would be great, because that's something that a lot of the families ask for, because they need to learn English. So they want access to, online classes. And that's something that we haven't been really getting a lot of through both organizations. And that would be great. So, again, to reiterate, what I think how your audience members can help is just, volunteering first off, and then supporting the families through the Adopt a Family program, going on the websites, visiting the website, seeing what other needs we have, other programs we have, however they can help. They can also sponsor a family from Afghanistan to bring them here, and they don't have to do a financial obligation. There's no financial obligation on that. And I think those are basically what I want to make sure that we cover. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. You are so busy. I love all the work that you do, and I'm very excited to spread the word about both of these organizations and tell people about all the amazing work that you do. So thank you so much. If you would like to learn more about our organization, please follow us on Facebook at Truman Charities or Instagram at Jamie_Truman Charities, or check out our website, trumancharities.com. I hope you enjoyed listening and hearing stories of selflessness and caring. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.